Could this be your next favourite Lord of the Rings game? Could this be your next favourite board game? Let's find out with a first look at Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth. Hi and welcome to Tabletop Gaming. My name is Charlie and we are the publishers of a monthly magazine on all things board games, card games, trading card games, RPGs, miniatures and more. You can check out an example of it behind me on the shelves. There's a couple around. Take a look. I'll pop a link in the description if you're interested in checking those out, but that means that we know our board games and this is one that we are very excited about and for good reason. Now there's an overlap in genres. Let's be honest, if there's a Venn diagram of people that like the sort of fantasy style of stuff and board games, there's pretty big overlap in between the two. Given some of our biggest franchises, it's fair to say that us lot like fantasy, and Lord of the Rings is up there as one of the greats. So of course, when it comes to tabletop, we tend to be excited about it, and we've had some fantastic board games in the Lord of the Rings world over the years. This one I'm very excited about though. This one was the talk of Essen. We've seen it climbing the board game hot list, and for good reason. This really is one to watch. So today we're going to take a first look. We're going to have a look inside, see what we get, see what we're sort of looking at, but I'll give you an introduction to it first so we know what we're playing. Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth is published by Reprise Production, and it is a two-player game because it's a duel. See, 1v1. It's for ages 10 plus and takes around 30 minutes to play. Ultimately, it's a card game that plays over 3 separate chapters. You're going to play on either side, so either play as Sauron or the Fellowship. Nicely, there's a couple of different ways to win, which we'll go into throughout the course of this video, but it means that as you're playing, as you're building, as you're creating something incredible, you're pursuing slightly different things to your opponent. Will you win on this condition? Will you win on that one? Now I'm going to draw your attention, of course, to the names on the bottom of this, the designers that put in all the hard work, which is Anton Bowser and Bruno Cathala. You may recognise them, and if you don't recognise their names, you'll probably recognise their games, because they've got things under their belt like Five Tribes, like King Domino, like Takenoko. They are big names. They know what they're doing when it comes to game design, and seeing them together is always a dream. This time though, the one to focus on is the fact they are also the creators of Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel, because that is the same system that this is running on. So if you like those games, which are incredibly popular games for good reason because they are fantastic, this is living in that world. This is giving you all of the fun of those games, but with the added extra of being Lord of the Rings themed. Of course, there are changes, it's very thematic, it works out very well, but that is the core that you'll be used to. You will notice similarities between the two, which I'm very excited about. Now, over the course of this video, I'm going to talk to you about what we find inside the box. We're also going to talk about how things play and things that are really cool about it. But if you have any questions, do pop them in the comments below and I will be sure to get back to you. Let's not waste any more time, let's get into it. So, once we take the lid off, inside, we are shown our tokens, obviously all themed around Lord of the Rings, but we've got some cool things to see here. So look at these different markers, recognisable locations, and a few new things that you can pick up from and gain bonuses from. That's what those are for. Now we have 2 of those, and then we have our map. We're going to be trying to have a presence in these. That's one of our win conditions, but it's not our only win condition. And the game itself, like Seven Wonders Duel, unfolds over chapters. So as you go through the game, you reach the end of one chapter, the stakes raise for the second and the third. More powerful cards are available. It's less easy to pull cards off of the tableau. It's a way to scale things and keep things at a pace and a beat that Lord of the Rings has itself. It feels like a big blockbuster film, but in a game. Now, these are our quick guides. So pause if there's anything on there that you want to check out. But the symbology is, it takes a little while to get your head around, and then once you understand it, you are away because it all makes sense. Or you can just refer back to these if you need to. And we have a full instruction book here. Now it is very small, which I am a fan of in a rule book. As easy as things can be, as quickly as you can get playing, the better. So this isn't too bad, but there are also some really fantastic how to play videos out there that are well worth a watch. Now we have a couple of bits here. We've got more of these coins that we'll come back to in a little bit. We've got our tiles that we're going to be purchasing potentially if we can afford them. They're a big deal if we can. And then we've got this, which makes up part of our racetrack. Basically, as Sam and Frodo are racing towards Mount Doom, and Nazgûl are behind them. But I'll show you the cool component that makes that up in just a second. Literally, I mean just a second, because it's here. So essentially, this sits atop, and these move with our little friends here as to where they are, and the Nazgûl are going to try and catch us up at the same time. And you can see where he highlights different areas, and as you pass over certain cool bits, so that's a coin, you collect those bonuses, which is pretty fun. I really like this. I think this is just a really nice component. The main thing about this game, the main construct, the main things you're doing is in your cards. So we have a beautiful stack of cards here that are separated into 3 chapters. Remember, I mentioned those earlier. Now, if we look at, for example, here, you can see at the bottom there is a number 1, and as we go through, we have the same on this set, different card back, number 2 at the bottom, different card back, number 3 at the bottom. Now, I've done a horrible shuffling of those to get those out quickly, but essentially you've got different coloured cards that have different opportunities available to you. So some of them are free to play, but they give you purchasing power later down the line, so it's good to take it on this turn if you're saving up for something later. Others allow you to pick up coins. Great, that's what we'd want in later turns. Some of them allow you things like progressing, and some of them are like this, where if you can unite enough of these together, you get bonuses. So either uniting the same ones gets you bonuses, those little tiles I showed you at the beginning, or if you manage to get 6 different ones united, you win the game. Instant win condition. And I like games like this where they have different ways that you can win immediately, because you can get very sunk into how you're going to win this way and you think this is the best opportunity, and then it flips on its head because someone else has won by doing something that you weren't paying attention to. And the reason those are the best games is because when you then finish the game, you're like, yeah, but I want to play again because I think actually I can win under that condition, and then your focus shifts, but so does your partner's. So you're constantly playing a slightly different game than when you started. I love it. So we'll take a look at some of the pieces that you get. These little guys are used to mark your presence in different areas of Middle-earth, and those are from that board that we showed you at the very beginning. So you have your recognisable places on here, and one of the win conditions is to have a presence in all of these places. So this can be a good option for you. The other aspect to that is having almost an immovable presence with these fortresses, and these fortresses sit atop here, and they are then yours. You have that presence. That is just it. You get those through the landmark tiles, which are these ones here. They're great, but they're costly to buy, so you have to build cleverly to know what you're going to do for what you're trying to aim for. Of course, if your fellow player figures out what it is that you're trying to do strategy-wise, they're probably going to try and stop you. So it's all a bit of a push and pull, which, spoiler alert, is why I love duel games so much. Now, you'll notice there's some different colours available here, so I'm going to show you what some of these look like and give you an idea of what they do. So green cards represent races that you're hoping to ally yourself with as you cross Middle-earth, which is why, if they all have different symbols representing different communities, if you have managed to unite all of them yourself, then you win the game. Blue cards, like our friend here, move us along that track, so we're getting closer to Mount Doom, or if we're playing as the Nazgûl, we're getting closer and closer, hopefully, to Frodo and Sam. Red cards let you place those units that I just showed you. So our little friends here, we place those down using these sorts of cards. And depending on which card we play, depends on where we can place them, or later maybe we can move them. There are other cards that allow you to move them around, such as purple cards, for example, as I say here. So they'll show you the things that you can do. Now on those cards, you buy them using the icons shown here, and you get the bonus shown above for them. And when you're picking from the tableau as to which card do you want, if you pick one up and go, well, can't buy that, you can always cast it aside for a coin instead, which in turn can get you more cards. You see, it's all a balancing act. It's like they planned this. Now, to put them all in one place, there are 3 ways to win. One is if Frodo and Sam get to Mount Doom, then they win immediately. But if Nazgûl manage to catch them before they do, then Team Sauron takes the crown. And the ring, I guess. Number 2, if you dominate all 7 regions on this map, if you are in each and every one of those, then you win. No questions asked. It doesn't matter how close to Mount Doom you are, you win. And lastly, with the support of all 6 symbols, you can also win. So you can win by getting cards, or you can win by playing those cards, or you can win by playing cards to move. You see why it's hard to keep track of? And not hard in a way that's difficult, but hard in a way that means you kind of got to focus on what's going on. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, but some of you will be shouting at the screen, if anyone actually ever does that, this seems very Seven Wonders Duel-y. That's a technical term. Yes, you would be right. It's because it's built on the same game engine that was created for that. Now, it is different. You will find that things are in different places, that terminology is slightly different, that there are different requirements of you, but it gives you an idea of the sort of logic in place that you're going to take. And equally, oddly, I'm getting Splendid Duel vibes from this, which makes sense because it has a designer in common, but I can't quite tell you what the exact thread is that I'm picking up on that with. It may be in the card design, it may be in sort of the different conditions that you have to win, but that's my immediate thought. I'm like, oh, I'll play this with the same people I play Splendid Duel with. I think they'll love it. And let's be honest, it's reassuring having creators of something so big, so vast, looking at something so cool like this and so important to so many of us, because who doesn't love Lord of the Rings? Now, this game has just been released, so you can go and get your copy and see what you think to it. We'll be posting a little bit more about it later as well. But for now, I think you should subscribe to our channel. Thanks. Leave us a comment and let us know what your thoughts are. Are you going to give it a try? What do you think to Lord of the Rings? Does this seem like a good conversion to you? I'm very excited about it, but are you? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day and we'll see you soon.